Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Adele Ashley. I live in Toronto and I talk about everything from life to beauty and books on my channel. So while we are currently going through a rather large heat wave in Toronto, it is definitely like 20 something degrees or 30 degrees outside these days, I am fully ready for fall vibes. I have my pumpkin spice creamer in my coffee. I am ready to wear fall clothes, put on the jacket, start baking, and read fall books. So today I figured we'd go through all the books that I am looking forward to reading in fall 2023. These are all books that are being published in the next few months, and some of them have spooky vibes, some of them are just fun rom-coms, and then 2 of them are sequels or continuations of series that I cannot wait to read. So first up, I have Enchanted to Meet You by Meg Cabot, out on September 5th. So this is being labeled as a witchy rom-com about a witch who casts a spell as a teenager and then gets banned from the World Convention of, or World Council of Witches. And then fast forward 15 years later, a witch comes to her and lets her know that she has been chosen by that same council that has banished her to save her town. She teams up with this handsome member of the council who she just may be falling in love with, but then through that she also has to figure out what is real, what is wrong. I mean, it's a witchy rom-com. We know she's going to end up with the handsome stranger in the end, but it does seem like the perfect kickoff to kind of Halloween season. After that, I have You Again by Kate Goldbeck, out on September 12th. So it's about a commitment phobe and a hopeless romantic who clash over and over again until heartbreak and unexpected chemistry bring them back together in a clever enemies to friends to potentially lovers debut romance. The synopsis really does indicate that they have nothing in common except they have both been sleeping with the same woman and they don't know about each other. They do come back together years later for a platonic relationship and soon discover that maybe a friendship is better for them than just absolutely outright hating each other. I have heard a lot of good things about this book. A lot of people are hyping it up, so I definitely will be picking it up just to see how it goes. After that is Rouge by Mona Awad. So this is a gothic fairy tale about a lonely dress shop clerk whose mother dies unexpectedly, and it sends her down a treacherous path in pursuit of youth and beauty. So it really is all about, can she escape her mother's fate? Can she find a connection that's more than skin deep? I have read All's Well by Mona Awad and I really liked it. I do know people also have a lot of good things to say about Bunny, so I am excited to pick up Rouge. It is a little bit different than what I normally would read, so broaden those horizons, try new things. After that, we have The Christmas Orphans Club by Becca Freeman, out September 26th. So I have been a religious listener to the Bad on Paper podcast. I remember when Becca Freeman was talking about writing this book, how she was going through the process of the query letter and everything else. So I am so excited that it's finally here. So it is a holiday rom-com that follows 4 friends in New York City who hold on to their unconventional Christmas tradition, even when their paths diverge. But then they also start realizing that possibly the changes that they're fearing is actually the change that they need in their life. So I love this. I love a good story about a friend group. It's set at Christmas. It's set in New York City. I can't wait to read it. I also know Becca is currently working on her 2nd book, so for a debut novel, it's sure to be great. So next on my list is Bright Young Woman by Jesican Knoll, out on October 3rd. I remember really liking her previous book, Luckiest Girl Alive. I didn't watch the movie of it that came out last year, but the book, I loved it. I devoured it when I first read it a couple years ago. I do know that this book is set in the 70s and 80s, and there's a bit of a true crime element through it, as it follows 2 women on opposite sides of the country whose lives are brought together by crimes that the same man has committed against someone in their lives or them. And they become allies and sisters in arms as they try to get to the bottom and pursue justice that seems to constantly be eluding them. I'm also really looking forward to Wildfire by Hannah Grace, out on October 3rd. This is the second book in the Maple Hill series, and while it follows two summer camp counselors who reconnect after a sizzling one-night stand, I do know that they are still university students in this. I am curious to see if there's going to be cameos from the characters from Icebreaker in this book, because it does seem to be set with a new group of friends. It very much is a standalone. I'm excited to see where it goes. I loved Icebreaker. It was a quick, shouldn't say quick, the book's actually quite thick, but it was a quick, fun read for me that was just easy to power through. A Holly Jolly Ever After by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone is out on October 10th. So this is a follow-up to A Merry Little Meet Cute, which came out last year, and it follows an actress and Callum from book 1, who is another Ink boy band member. He also is the owner of Slice Slice Pizza or Slice Slice Baby. Can't quite remember the name of it, but the pizza shop that is named in the first book. As they are reunited as co-stars on the set of a steamy holiday film. I'm really excited for it. I remember A Merry Little Meet Cute was just kind of a really fun Christmas book to read at the start of the season, so I'm sure A Holly Jolly Ever After will be just as great. And then probably my most anticipated book of the fall season is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, out on November 7th. So I basically made Fourth Wing my personality over the summer. I could not put that book down. I've reread it immediately after finishing it. I pre-ordered the book. I am super excited to see how things go with Violet and Xaden and Dane, and how they end up back at Beth Guy's War College after the ending of Fourth Wing. I have so many questions, and I can't wait to figure out where this story is going. And of course, I can't wait to get more of the dragons, because the dragons make the entire thing. And then also out on November 7th is Murtagh by Christopher Paolini. So this is another book that features dragons, and I mentioned it before, but I was obsessed with the Aragon series as a kid. So I'm excited to dive back into Allegaza. There's a really long gap between the fourth book and this book. I'd say about 10-12 years. So I'm currently rereading the series just so I can get back into the world and remember kind of what happens fully. I do know that it is mentioned that this can be read as a standalone, so it could either be read as the first book in the series, or it could be read as the fifth book in the order that it was published. The events in this book do happen 5 years. Sorry, the events in this book does happen 1 year after the end of the previous 4. And it's following Murtagh, who, and his Dragonthorn, as they sense that there is a new enemy and witch in the land, and they're also traveling kind of all throughout Allegaza. I'm excited to see where it goes. Like I said, it's just kind of a comfort read for me, and November 7th, I have 2 fantasy books that are basically going to be taking up all my time. After that is Do Your Worst by Rosie Danan, out November 14th. So it follows an occult expert and a disgraced archaeologist as they become enemies with benefits. I know that they're trying to break a curse in a castle and figure out kind of what is going on there. Rosie Danan previously wrote The Roommate and The Intimacy Experiment, which I loved. They're 2 very sex positive books. They do follow 2 sex workers, and they portray them in such a great light throughout, which is so nice to see. I'm also really excited to see kind of where this one goes, because it does take us out of that kind of real world and a little bit more into like spooky season and, you know, haunted castle. Betting on You by Lynn Painter comes out on November 28th. So I love Lynn Painter books. Her YA novels are always so sweet. There's always kind of a bit of I remember I read one where it was a repeating day element to it, which I really liked as well. So it's a rom-com in the vein of She's All That and 10 Things I Hate About You, and follows a teen girl who unwittingly finds herself at the center of a bet while working at a water park. So of course it's opposites attracts and then enemies to lovers. I do know a better two will play a role in this. The synopsis does indicate that there seems to be there's one bet that's happening that she is aware of and she's a part of, and then there's another kind of secondary bet that has the power to absolutely devastate her. I'm excited to see where it goes. It seems like a really fun YA read, and you know, in the depths of winter, who does not want to read about a summer at a water park? The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson comes out on December 5th. So Lana Ferguson also wrote The Nanny, and this seems to be way different from The Nanny, as it is a paranormal romance. It follows two wolf shifters who agree to be fake mates, but unexpectedly find something real. So you do have kind of your classic elements of a fake dating trope in a romance novel there. It is different from what I previously read, but it sounds fun and perfect for spooky season, kind of cozy season as well. I am really interested in seeing this. I'm curious if there's going to be a little bit of world building or explanation here, because as far as I know, we do not live in a world where people appear to be human but also are wolves, I guess. So I'm excited to see how she plays it out. Like I said, very, very different from The Nanny, which I loved, but I'm interested to see if it lives up to the hype as well. And then Technically Yours by Denise Williams is out on December 5th. So I previously read The Fastest Way to Fall, which I loved, and this one follows a programmer who 8 years ago fell in love with a stranger he couldn't have, and today she is back in his life, and the sparks between them are still evident and still there. However, he is stepping into a role on her board of directors for her company, and the sparks between them threaten to set her entire career on fire. I like Denise Williams books. I know what I'm getting going into them, and I just love to see how the story plays out. They always are so relatable, so fun, and are a book that I just want to read and can't put down. So that is all the books that I'm looking forward to reading in fall of 2023. Let me know in the comments if you are looking forward to reading any of these books, if I missed anything, and what you would recommend. Till next time, happy reading!